We're live.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That it is.
Welcome to the Functionised podcast, also known as the Keto Project Movie. This is also being taped, and we'll be using some of this for the Keto Project Movie. I don't think anyone can actually see our film guy, Ryan.
He's here. He's right there. There we go. Get out of view.
No one can see the world's greatest producer, Ming.
Mastermind Ming.
Mastermind Ming. I love it. And we also have the Hammer of Thor, to which Dr. Mike attempted to lift. After all the Burger King burgers, he is unable to lift it. What the crap. Maybe after N-grass fed. Maybe if you chose Wendy's or McDonald's, you'd be able to lift it. But in this point...
We did forget about the Thor challenge at the beginning, the baseline measurements. We'll add that for next time.
Abso-freaking-lutely. What we are going to discuss today is what we've been doing, why the heck we've been doing it, and what we're going to do for the next 30 days. Because a lot of people, they're calling it a Burger King challenge, and in no way is it a challenge.
No, don't try it first off.
Just don't do it.
I'll give you firsthand all the reasons not to do it. I've listed them pretty much every day for the last 30 days. Mostly reasons why not to do it. So it's not a challenge. I'm ready to go to phase 2. It's simply what it is. You know I'm more than ready for phase 2.
You got stuck with the needle this morning?
I did. My badge of honor, little camouflage Band-Aid.
The nurse was wonderful. Her arm only got up this high when she stabbed you as opposed to this high like when she did me last week.
There's only a mild grunt as she came down with it.
It was a beautiful sight to see. You had like this big stick coming out your arm and I'm getting woozy, man.
Half of that's true. You are getting woozy. So...
And tomorrow we do your brain map with thermal imaging once again. Did your physical testing yesterday, and
that was coming up.
The results. Oh, I don't need that. I know what the results were.
Yeah.
And the results are going to be published on the functionized.com/keto.html aspect of the movie part of the website. You sucked ass.
If you want to see how great I did, it was miserable. Like, I mentally felt good, but I knew nothing was working, and I was getting quite pissed off about it.
I was actually thinking that after the 4th week, that you might actually start becoming more keto adapted, that the glucose would start being filling up the cells of your muscles, for lack of better description here, and I thought you would have that adaptation. I thought your strength would be a little bit higher. I thought your output would be higher. I mean, we've tested before under the exact same conditions, the exact day of the week, the exact time, and yeah, it was hot and humid, but you were moving slower than usual.
Nothing's new about hot and humid training. And just a flashback, so this was the 3rd time we did this, from baseline and the halfway point. I really know that. I remember the ARX numbers. They were all worse, but just a little worse. Yesterday's was significantly. Like, every number I hit was lower than my average. And I think the last time I hit something that low was almost a year ago. I didn't go back specifically, but it was a long time.
Don't you worry. I will.
But I'm sure. It was, painful to see.
It was what it was. And
it gave us the information. So we'll see how it changes with the month off for phase 2, and then going in for the next part of the N-grass fed.
So the fun part about yesterday was, for nobody that really knows about this, I've been looking for my tape measure for the last couple weeks, and I could not find the tape measure.
It was driving you nuts.
I knew it could either be in the door of the car, or it would be in the lab. One of two places, front desk or in the back storage. Nowhere. So I seemed like I was going through the cranky keto phase. I may have been a pain in the ass at times, I know, but I knew where it was. Lo and behold.
No, you didn't.
Where was it?
Out in the field, right by the high jump wall, underneath the bench. That wasn't there last time. So that's crazy. Yeah, we said farewell to that tape measure.
Yeah,
right?
the inside was rusted out, and fortunately I opened up my bottom drawer yesterday, and lo and behold, I got tape measures all over the place. Thank goodness. And I just brought it to the lab today. So
I'm glad you've been stressing out for 2 weeks finding the one tape measure. Find out you had a bunch in your room.
Yeah. That's where we're at with that. Before we get too much, I want to get some of your doctoral opinions here.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Tell me about your background in nutrition, doctor.
So, in short, 2 concentrations of bachelor's degrees in nutrition, was working through the master's of nutrition while I was getting my chiropractic degree. And then I've been practicing it as the precision nutritionist at Functionised, and been going on that for going into our 3rd year now. So that's the short background of it. I mean, obviously, constantly learning stuff, needing to keep looking at papers, figure out what's going on with everybody else. So it's given an interesting viewpoint because I've had to learn and work with people of all different health disparities and backgrounds and desires, which that's usually the one that gets most in the way, is what people want.
Now, you've worked with athletes and
wide range.
Non-athletes. You've worked with individuals with clinical problems.
Yeah, I've had everything from cerebral palsy patients to people that came in just looking for weight loss, but then found out that kidney stones and gout can have to do with food. They had no clue. 70-plus-year-old diabetics, CVD, all kinds of things. And then early internships were with the pro baseball. So wide range.
So when it comes to nutrition, and you're going to smack me with this one, what works and why?
Anything, depending on what the goal is. If you're going to ask me a wishy-washy question, I'll give you the answer for it. But it really does come down to the individual's desires, what you're trying to. Just like if you're trying to train for 2 Olympic events, what you're going to do is far different for each of those Olympic events. Track versus swimming versus basketball or something. It's going to be a lot different. Same thing with nutrition. If you have someone that's trying to lose weight, trying to gain weight, or don't care about their weight, they just don't want to have gout or diabetes anymore. And then on top of if they have a religious or strong belief in food, there's certain people that, if you're saying you're going to never eat pork or you're never going to eat plants or whatever, you got to stick to it with them because I'm working with them, I have to try to abide by that a little bit. It's easier when it's myself.
Of course.
Or a test subject and something like this where it's just, tell me, let's do this, as long as it makes sense.
What we're going to do yesterday, we're going to do food challenges at this point. If you climb a cell phone tower, you get a free pizza.
The 5G for pizza.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that this morning, actually, see if that was still in bet.
That was a terrible idea. So regarding keto.
Yes.
Which is, it's a trend. It was developed for epileptic patients initially.
Yeah.
And individuals found that by switching to a lifestyle more like this, most don't even do the lifestyle. They just hit a diet short term. Hey, man, I'm doing a keto. It sounds cool.
They don't do it what I consider the best way. So if I say correctly, I mean the best way.
So what exactly is it? And how do people know that they're actually doing it? Is it just eating high fat? Is it just eating no carb? What really is it?
So keto diet or being ketosis is simply when your body's now burning ketones, metabolites of fat. Typically the way to do it is by having a higher fat, moderate protein, low carb lifestyle. As long as you do that, it's a little different per the individual, but start with 30 grams or less of carbs with about 60% more fat, and you will, within a couple of days, 5 to 7 for most people, start burning ketones, hence ketosis. That's it. That's where the guidelines, the rules are. You're in ketosis, you're on the keto diet, quote unquote.
So it's like I tell a lot of people, they think, I'm eating low carb, so I'm going keto. I ask them, okay, how do you know? Well, I just know. Well, how do you test it? Oh, you can test it?
Yeah,
a lot of people don't get that you need to test it to even see if you're burning ketones.
Yeah. I've had people say they're in keto diet, which means, though, that they just don't eat bread and pastas.
Right.
And there's
far more. Pop-Tarts are fine, though, as long as they're organic.
Yes.
So 0.5 millimoles per liter of blood to 3.0 millimoles per liter of blood is typically standard.
That means you are now burning the ketones. You're using ketones as opposed to glycogen and sugar as the main source of your energy.
Theoretically, though, burning ketones simply means that you are not using glucose. Would that be correct?
Correct.
So if your body is in a state of starvation mode, or we're tricking it into starvation mode by not raising insulin, using fat, and small amounts of low glycemic carbohydrates, theoretically, you could eat salt packets and fall into ketosis. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's theory at all.
Okay, so darn true. You can do a fast for a few days, like
I'll be doing a 5-day fast soon. I would expect to be in full-blown ketosis by the end of it.
Now, the fascinating part with you and the ketone levels is you started out at barely, 0.2.
Blah.
Then you got up to 1.8. Just yesterday, you were at 1.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you're in ketosis, not the levels that we thought
No,
you would
it is
be.
ketosis, but not what I want to call full blown or deep. Yeah, not as much as I thought.
You thought we'd have a lot more ketone bodies going on.
I
So
was expecting 2.
why? What are your theories going on with that?
My two big theories on this one. The one that we can't prove yet is I'm curious if there are some additives or fillers in these burgers. I mean, we don't know. We can take it for what it's worth, what they say and they market, but realize it is marketing. So I have no idea.
We've discussed even on, was it Fun Fridays before, at Functionised, the fact that they may be putting cellulose in there.
Yeah, or even if there's cornstarch or something and there's a binder, that would pull it out. And that's really common in a lot of like jerked meats and processed meats to begin with. So that wouldn't be surprising.
So it
that
can
would
be
stop me.
100% all beef. So 100% all beef is in there.
Plus this stuff.
XYZ.
The meat that's in there could be 100% beef.
Right.
And the other big theory is having too much protein compared to fat, because it's been shown with certain people, because it's well known, if you have a lot of protein, your body will convert it in a way to carbohydrates, so it can store in one way or another. But in some people, it completely stops from going into ketosis. I know for a fact I was eating more protein than fat in these burgers. I mean, just
Correct.
At least, again, based off of the label that we were given and shown. And when I was, we bought these burgers in bulk. I froze a lot of them because I wasn't going to just have 140 burgers sit in the fridge and then wait to see what kind of cool things grow on it before I eat it.
Promise nothing. It would have been fine.
I'm still glad I made this decision overall. But when I froze them and stuff, a lot of you saw the fat globules of the oils and stuff on the bottom of these burgers. Usually 1 or 2 of them was like coated in it. And I didn't think about it really until the last week much after I throw it in the microwave, because sometimes I heat them up, sometimes I just grabbed them and ate them room temperature. But there was a lot of oil on my fingers. There was oil left over, especially when I used the microwave on the bottom of the thing. I didn't think about I probably should be drinking this.
Right.
I did a few days, but it didn't even come to my mind at the time. I keep wiping off my hands for the grease that was on these things. So I was getting, the point being, even less fat than what was in there, which there's more protein to begin with. So there's a strong possibility I was over protein load, and it was halting the ketosis effect going as deep as it was.
We were still within athlete guidelines by the National Association of Sports Medicine
Right.
to where we're at. However,
My performance was miserable. It should have not have been. I didn't expect it to be that bad had I been in a ketotic state. I've done ketosis before. And I remember the first couple days, especially when I went from, I know you still remember those days of my spaghetti every day shoved in garlic bread. Oh my gosh.
got to do what you got to do to get through Cairo school.
And I went from that straight to keto. So I went from 350 grams of carbs today down to 30. I was miserable for like 10 days. And then it was great.
Your
This
body
10 days
starts
lasted
with
3 times as long.
gluconeogenesis, and bam, thank you.
So it was nothing what I expected. It's nothing that I had in my previous experiences going on and off ketosis, which I've done several times, especially for training events.
So, if you were going to go to a fast food restaurant, such as where we went, what would you get? I mean, if you wanted to live a keto lifestyle, how would you do it? And drinking the oil that they have that will probably cause cancer is not an option. No sucking the oil out of fries. That doesn't count.
That makes that tough, honestly, because pretty much everything that's in fast food is going to be your trans fats or your plain sugar. I don't really, if the plain burger wasn't doing it, I really don't know if I could.
Right.
To be completely honest, because it's not like, oh, add more oil to that. It's going to be the same stuff. And we'll say it's questionable quality at best. So based on this, I'm not really sure I could go full-blown keto. At least not off of what I know of fast food. I'm not going to pretend to be a connoisseur, but I can't think of...
So theoretically, there's really... Christian, what's going on?
Hey!
Good to see you. So theoretically, there's really no way to live a keto lifestyle eating a fast food lifestyle as well. Would that be
It's
correct?
not appearing so, especially with the high protein content. If it was flopped, yes, because people, if you look keto fast food, there are some guidelines, so to speak, of how to do it, and it's seeming all invalid. Again, they just didn't test it like we have with the blood and urine quite a bit. It's only going to keep going.
Oh yeah, we're going to keep on sticking you there.
Body fluids for days.
Gross.
Welcome to that conversation.
When it comes to an individual, they come to you and say they want to be keto, what would you tell them?
Why is always the first thing I ask.
I want to lose weight.
Then I usually still follow up with a why, and then people just stare at me for 20 seconds. Because, I mean, people never know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they're coming to me telling me what they want, I just assume they have no idea. And that's been proven almost every time. Because you're right, they want to lose weight. They heard it was good for me. Or that's usually the very general answers I get is, why do you want to go keto? Why are you on this supplement? Oh, I heard it was good for me. And they don't actually know anything about it. These people that I've heard that are on keto and they tell me they had a bagel for breakfast.
Right.
Or, they had orange juice with their bacon and eggs. Like, you're missing something. A big something here.
Look, we've talked about a crap ton of documentaries.
Yes.
And not necessarily here on this podcast, but mostly off camera. I mean, we have a lot of fun with documentaries. And let's face it, documentaries are meant to be one-sided, geared towards a specific purpose and point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Game Changers, What the Hell, Forks Over Knives. We can go on and on and on.
They were fun shows.
They're a lot of fun. People seem to really, it hits home with them because they resonate.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm doing is not working. What so-and-so is doing as an athlete,
I like that phenomenon.
Right.
If they see something they like, they're going to believe it a lot more, and you're not going to look for things that might have been tweaked in there. I mean, that was huge with Game Changers. I know a lot of people.
And we poked holes in it. Other experts have poked holes in it. Non-experts have used our information and poked new holes in it as well.
Yeah.
It's very biased in that aspect of
I
it.
mean, we're all susceptible to that. I mean, you hear something you like, you're more likely to do it. But I mean, don't let yourself go blind to it, and that happens a lot.
So when it comes to a keto diet, do you believe somebody could do that long term? And I'm talking about for the rest of their lives.
Can or should?
Should. Why or why not?
Should, no.
Why not?
It's been shown to cause a couple of organ issues long term. And that's pretty much it. It's not for, if you're looking at a lifestyle for longevity, you probably don't want to do one that's going to increase the chance of shortening your life in a couple of years. It is great short term. I mean, again, as you mentioned, it was started at, the old term was swank diet, as this pretty much high fat for seizures, MS, neurological conditions. And it's great for medical short term if you know why you're doing it. If you're, full-blown type 2 diabetic with retinal issues, you probably don't want to go keto. There's issues with that. I've had to argue with people before about they wanted to go on ketosis, but their blood sugar was way out of control, and no, let's go lower carb, control things. And I started rambling and lost the question.
All right, let's go longevity.
Yes.
Because that's kind of our thing. It's our forte.
Yeah.
You and I both grew up athletes.
Let's have a long health span.
Fortunate to play at a very high level, work with individuals that have been at an even higher level. Very fortunate to have had that opportunity. Still stay in touch with the guys. Looking forward to talking with a lot more of them for this movie on what they did beforehand, which, let's face it, they ate like crap, but they were young. Yeah. So I just want to hear from them. Starting to figure it out along the way. Those that have stuck around the league long enough have really honed in and do a lot of the stuff that we do in the Fit Lab. And then longevity. That's what we really work with a lot, is individuals who have made it. They're now professionals, whether they're a executive, or just a hardworking grinder, 12 to 16 hours a day. They want to crush the game of life.
Yep, stay healthy under the stress loads that they have. How can you do it?
Live as long and happy as possible. So what would you recommend? Is there a one-size-fits-all even for that?
I feel like you're probing a big no.
I'm not doing any probing here. That's the one test that I'm not doing on you.
Thank goodness.
Christian can do that one. Yeah. And the new producer's hat.
But of course, there's no one size fits all. Again, what is your health? What are you willing to do is actually a bigger part of it. And then what is your end goal? If your end goal is for longevity and health, okay. There's certain things that we can say is probably best 99% of the time. Not eating a crap ton of sugar. I think for the most part, everyone can agree that's best for longevity is not eating a bunch of sugar.
Sugar's bad. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then we can start arguing more about how much sugar, what types of carbs, does fiber count, when would it count? Is wheat bread actually as good as like Ezekiel? Do you need any bread? Should you just eat cheese and call it bread?
Yes.
God, I missed that recipe. That will happen soon. It's keto.
I'm actually dying for peanut butter and jelly, and I want to figure out a way to incorporate
Challenge
that.
accepted.
Yeah.
The jelly's the hard part.
Yeah.
I'll just get mulberries and throw stevia on it.
What if we could do an allulose jelly? Take strawberries, suck out the sugar somehow, and add allulose instead. I mean, this is truly processing food.
Probably have better luck at this point with like flavor extracts and just using those miracle noodles and calling it something else. I have no idea.
So talk to me here. Next step we're doing
Yes.
here. We both agreed we're doing a 5-day fast, and by we I mean you.
Yeah, this is heal my gut phase 2.
Right.
Because I mean, through this process, I don't know how many people roll their eyes at this, but I've tried to smile, though I've bitched a lot. This has not been well. I've made myself sick through this. If you guys see me excited or smiling, odds are I've been faking it. I need to heal myself. So the first part of phase 2 is a 5-day fast. That's going to be beginning today's Monday, tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon at the latest.
And that kind of helps us make sure that we have all the products necessary for you.
Yeah, because it'll be, just to clarify, because every time I say 5-day water fast, I still have 8 questions to follow up, so I'll hit that. Yes, water only. I might have a little bit, go ahead.
Bergamot tea.
Yep, might have a little bit of bergamot tea.
And why are we doing that?
You good on that one, because I was going to talk about how I might drop electrolytes if I need to.
It will bring up, theoretically, apoptosis and autophagy or autophagy, depending on how you're going to say it. You like autophagy, I like autophagy. It's like saying target.
Anyway, these words that I'm not even going to try to reproduce, for those who haven't heard these, autophagy.
Autophagy.
Is when our body decides to start clearing itself out of
senescent cells.
There you go.
Yeah, the cells that we don't really need.
Scar tissue, build up acids and stuff that's in our muscle. Even benign tumors have been shown to break down to a certain extent.
RNA, DNA that is dysfunctional.
It actually cleans up
it.
dying cells in your body.
So when the cells are dying, we've got this process that, well, let me digress for a second. We have this process in the body that creates new cells on a daily basis. We take the DNA strands, they kind of come together. It's like a zipper. Well, when you've got these dysfunctional aging strands and we're now replicating them, we're replicating crap. Replicating crap that can turn into cancer cells.
Mutated cells.
Correct. We don't want mutated cells unless we can do something like out of Heroes. Yatta! And, you know, have self-healing, flying, and all that cool stuff. But so far, I have not seen that happen with these mutated cells, so let's get rid of the tumors.
Yeah, let's clean myself up. I'm actually looking forward to not eating. I wish I could have not eaten the last 5 days. It would have been great. But then, yeah, that's going to lead us into the full phase 2, which is really just our way of leaning into phase 3.
So the supplements that I would like you to take.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I don't know this yet, so this is new to me.
Right. So I want you to take a spectrum of reds.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you why in a moment. A spectrum of greens, which will utilize
that one
green
I
vibrance.
knew. The reds I got a
Yep.
theory on.
I would like you to take human milk oligosaccharides.
Straight from the tap?
Straight from the tap to increase, that's going to help feed the bacteria of Akkermansia and Bifidobacterium. These are essential in the gut, especially in newborns, and as we age, we lose this.
So you want me to drink baby formula?
Similac, actually.
Okay. You brought that very pleasantly.
Yes.
I like how you phrased that. So
I do. So there's actually been studies shown that in those that are obese, they're actually lacking the levels of Akkermansia altogether. Those that are more slender and those that seem to burn body fat better have higher levels of Akkermansia. Not that you have at your 11 plus or minus a couple percent body fat here, as it just pulled up. Not that you may be lacking it, but we just destroyed your gut most likely.
Yes, I want to rebuild anything in there that needs rebuilt, which the 5-day fast can be a big start of that.
I don't want to just throw a whole bunch of probiotics at you, which are in the green vibrance, by the way, but
they have a decent mix of them, which is one of the big things that, because you're probably going to spiel anyway, so I'll steal it, is the probiotics. People love them. It's kind of a fad thing. It's got some purpose and truth to it, but no one ever actually tests your poop or bowels to see what bacteria is actually overgrown. We're just guessing.
Correct.
So if you're going to guess on a probiotic, you at least want to have one that's got a wide strain.
And even with guessing, so far we haven't been able to identify specifically how much of what to put in and how to get it to stick.
And then how much is actually in the 50 billion that's in there. They already know 10 to 60% die upon processing and transportation. So you might be getting half what it shows that's going in your body, then let alone what's actually sticking, as you called it.
also
No
best in
idea.
that way to shoot it up the other end, and you can bypass all the gut stuff. And again,
Coffee, a probiotic enema.
coffee probiotic emina with your probe. Christian is pretending not to listen to us at this point. I'm also going to add apple skins for you as well.
Okay.
That's going to help with more of the reds.
I was going to say, I
which
assume that was the reds.
Nourishes it, and the pectin and the fiber helps as a prebiotic to pass this along through.
Prebiotics a huge thing everyone oversights.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're getting everything with the green vibrance and the reds, the apple skins, and the Similac with HMO. Has to have the HMO in it. That is the crucial aspect of it.
The reds was the thing I didn't expect.
I also want you to take L-glutamine before you go to bed at night
Fully saw
to
that
help
coming.
with the healing of your gut.
And then I will not be eating processed foods and sugar. That's a huge thing.
That's the fun part, because right now I've been breaking down for you some stuff.
Yeah, I thought I had a few discretionary carbs in my 20 or whatever for the day.
Yeah, that's it. That's your carbs right there.
Yeah, there's one in an egg, so.
Where are we hitting up your carbs here? Yep, hitting a 10% carb. So there's your. You can have 2 extra carbs. So you can have some almond butter, a little bit,
or 2 eggs,
or 2 eggs. Yes. Protein, we're going to have to be careful of. I got you starting out at 15% protein, which is 102 grams total for the day of protein. That's 408.45 calories, and I'm working off of your 2,723 calories over the last 30 days, which is actually a drop from before we started. So your metabolism may have slowed down a little bit during this period. And then when it gets to fat, we're hitting 226 grams of fat, which is 2,034.75 kilocalories.
So 2,000 calories a day of fat.
Yeah.
Nice.
226 grams of it. The toughest part is limiting the protein.
Yes. That's gonna be.
I mean, even when we go to the nut butters, there's carbs in there. We're trying to stay away. And now I decided to help clean up your gut some more. Let's go with some insoluble fiber, such as psyllium husk
I was
here.
going to ask, is fiber counting for this?
I'm not counting as long as it's insoluble.
Good,
because
makes
your
sense.
body is not going to break down jack diddly poop. Pun totally intended on that. So that's where the roto-root's coming out on this one. Pun intended again on that.
So soluble fiber is good, which
right.
means vegetables, for the most part, are good.
For the most part, again, we got to see what
we'll
vegetable.
Start slow.
What vegetable is in there? I don't care if you just. Well, when you're not in the lab, I don't care what's happening. If you got to live in the bathroom, that's fine.
No, I figure I'm going to start with actually a little bit of vegetation, not too much, and that will be the carbs I start increasing at first.
30 grams per day.
Oh, we're going up to 30.
We're hitting 30.
Oh, nice.
Which I'm finding is typically the standard recommended.
Yep, 30 to 35 everyone recommends. So
typically individuals that are low in colon cancer, 30 grams is right there. Things that are sliding along properly, 30 grams are there.
Guarantee it getting ketosis, and I've played before about how much I can have and stay in ketosis. So.
The only meats I really want you eating are just going to come from wild-caught fish, because you just went on crap meat. The next 30 days is going to be end grass-fed specific meat. So why don't we just stick to wild-caught fish, in this case here, get your good omega-3s in there. You'll be able to get some good fats in there, some good protein in there, and we're going to avoid red meat. We're going to avoid arachidonic acid. I mean, we don't know really the source of a lot of meats. That's why when we're doing the end grass fed, I know the source. It's coming from a specific butcher who is specifically getting this for us, because a lot of times when people go to the grocery store, they may or may not have end grass fed beef.
Right.
It's hit or miss a lot of times, so I want to make sure that we have the specific on that, unless we buy baby Norman and literally free graze him before he ends up on our plate and making a new baseball glove for Xander. That could happen too. Since your mercury levels so far have been fine, I'm not really concerned when it hits macro, but we'll try to stick with salmon as much as possible.
I got 2 pounds sitting in my freezer because it's what I planned on being my last meal before going burger diet. And that just didn't happen.
I'm not really with your sensitivities. Really, you guys stay away from milk, yogurt, gluten, so that kind of works out to stay away from anything and everything of wheat
products. It was
products.
pretty much dairy other than sheep, goat milk, sheep milk, I think, and cheddar cheese. and there was like garlic and stuff. I mean, it wasn't really
garlic,
that bad.
lima beans, amaranth, spelt, gluten, yogurt, and milk. Those
And
were
I'll
your
be cooking,
sensitivities.
so that's easy for me to get rid of garlic.
Correct. Vitamin D, we can pick that right up in the fish. That's one of the reasons I wanted to turn to fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines. Those are some real good sources on there. And mackerel comes in little handy packets that you can just eat right out of on the go. Do not leave it in your car in the sun. Disgusting. So that's kind of where I'm looking to go with it. Throw a few little oils, some coconut or olive oil in the mix.
I'm going to have to throw oils in.
Correct.
Well, not butter, but I'm going to have to oil things up just to be able to get the fat calories in.
That's all.
Protein well. So I got no problems. I've said this to people before, dropping olive oil into drinks. Like that's actually a really easy way, or coconut oil into it.
Yes. And if for some reason you are having a shake, we'll stay away from the whey shakes by all means, simply because
I figured the
survey
vibrant,
says it's milk.
figured the vibrant greens or whichever path we go with that's an easy thing to drop oil into.
Absolutely. Where else am I at with you? Your sleep. Oh, any other questions on your nutrition?
No, not at this moment.
Good. Your sleep. Your sleep.
Do I still get a sleep?
I hope so. All right, so your sleep has been actually going down from what I was reading. Yes.
Oh, is it going down?
Um,
Because I know at
I'm
least from
sorry.
the beginning I was sleeping more.
Yep. Last week, you slept more. The month prior, we had 6 hours, 1 minute, 5 hours, 55 minutes, 6 hours, 34 minutes, 6 hours, 42 minutes. That was week 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
The week that you've been on the burgers, you went 6 hours and 43 minutes, 6 hours, 55 minutes, 6 hours and 40 minutes. So you're kind of sticking around that. And then last week, you blew it out of the water at 7 hours and 8 minutes.
Yeah, last week I didn't feel well.
Yeah, and last night, stalking you a little bit, you had 7 hours and like 9 minutes or something.
Okay.
So I knew you'd be okay when I walked in this morning and not cranking
Not
it.
completely dying and pissy and all that. I certainly was sometimes.
Is what it is.
When you felt the fuse just get shorter for no reason, like, I've got to go for a walk. It's 100 degrees outside.
Any questions on your?
No, it's
or
pretty
thoughts on your
straightforward to
nutrition?
me.
And we'll be using the My Plate in order to track everything, and I'll post everything so when individuals are wanting to go and do something like this, that they can. A lot of times I find individuals on a ketogenic diet. I loathe diet because diet is so temporary, but that's what most people do.
Mm-hmm.
They're temporary.
I'll try it.
They protein up,
Yes.
and they don't track, so they don't know where they're at in the first place. And yeah, I'll try it. Anytime you're trying something, is the first thing I'm going to fail. What are you going to do? I'm going to try. No, you're going to fail. You
No,
just
you already
tell me
let
you're not
yourself
doing
do it.
That's not a commitment. You're either going to do it or not.
Say you're going to do it. What happens if I fail? At least you tried. Give it 100%.
100%.
Don't let the door open. So.
But protein is typically, and we knew this going into this with the burgers, protein is what typically will keep the ketone bodies low because it does raise insulin.
Yes.
And the protein will be broken down and turned into, survey says, glucose.
Glycogen, sugar. Yeah.
Exactly. Because the body needs it. I mean, so many people say, ketones, they're our true fuel in the body. The more I've studied and researched over the years, the more I know that's not true. We thrive on glucose. The problem...
That's why our body uses it right away.
Right away. It's when we're dying, going into that starvation, our bodies don't want to die, so we use the ketone bodies. So with the different performance aspects, everybody doesn't realize that they're biohacking. They're manipulating their body in natural ways, in an unnatural manner, in order to achieve the goals that they want. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
So glucose is our primary source of fuel. No ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Nope.
Individuals don't realize with all that extra protein, that's what's happening.
Because our body will use sugar first. It's what it wants to use.
Right. Even according to the NSAM guidelines there that we're following, and we've also done through independent research of our own, where back in the day we were biohack humans, and figuring out how much protein do you really need. And we went through the systematic reviews of all the different research, and we came up with pretty much the same numbers as NASM. So that's the only reason I'm throwing
That
their
was one
name
of
out
our
into
first shows, wasn't it?
it. It was.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
Wow.
It was very awkward.
That might have been the time I earned this scar from the pork chops in the oven by not paying attention.
That was
'Cause
with
the Great Dane
Great
was there.
Dane. Was he that one? I just
I
remember
was in that time frame. I don't
it was.
know.
I just remember we started 4 hours late because we're about to finally start and you want to dip.
That's
None of us
right.
dip, dude.
Oh,
We got pork chops. Let's eat
food
them.
was ready. We got the show notes ready to go. Hey guys, I need dip.
But a lot of individuals, they don't realize how little protein that you can actually consume and be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you can actually gain more muscle without overdosing on protein, because that protein is going to be converted eventually into glucose or fat if you got too much going on here. We can go and survive and thrive on far less than we actually think. And when we're talking about anti-aging and longevity, it's been shown time and time again, especially if you look at the blue countries and people who are fasting, whether by choice or whether by, well, they just don't have food, tend to live longer. That says something.
It's been well proven for a while. Less daily calories does increase longevity.
Correct.
I mean, it makes sense. Metabolism is a huge process of our body. I don't at all remember the number, but I think it was a couple thousand reactions just to break down like a carbohydrate from beginning to end.
Right.
I mean, it probably takes a lot, let alone making all the enzymes and everything to do so. So the less we have to do that, the longer we live. That's in part why men tend to live shorter than women. Again, I'll piggyback a little bit on this, but
with excess muscle,
bigger size, more cells replicating, it's going to take tolls.
right?
over
There's
time.
an inverse relationship with mTOR activity and longevity. But what do us guys want to do? Right. We want to have pecs. We got to have freaks. Peaks for our freaks, as Big Papa Pump used to say. I knew I was going to screw that up. It's been so long. I used to love watching him on WCW back in the day.
That was a flashback. Jeez.
But yeah, us guys, we like to have muscle tone, and by doing that, we increase the mTOR activity. Later in life, when we want to live longer, we go the other way. We start eating less. But let's face it, we just sit around and eat and eat and eat and eat. I mean, as a little kid, I remember many times, it was like the badge of honor to go to the pizza place at the end of the block and get a whole large pizza for myself. I'm sure you did too.
Yep.
Sit down with that. Sit down with a huge tumbler that you got from Yankee Stadium filled to the top with ice and Coca-Cola or Pepsi, whatever they had for the day.
Just a growing boy.
Just a growing boy. And then you got to have your Twinkies after that, or your
Junior Twinkie.
I love Twinkies back in the day. Or you got to have the fruit pies that go along with it. And it was a badge of honor. And because you're working out all the time, you weren't thinking you're working out, because all you're doing is you're exercising, you're playing basketball, you're playing baseball or home run derby. You're playing, you're running around all day long, and you're burning it off. You stop.
Continue eating that lifestyle. It's what, I look back. I remember I've said this so many times with people. Look at the people that was in like high school or college with those athletes.
Right.
See where their athleticism is now. Most of them are not. They're couch athletes. You know, continue eating what they did, but not doing the activity.
And it's a shame. It really is. And that's the whole point here of the Keto Project Movie, is not about being keto whatsoever.
No.
It's not about weight loss. It's not about weight gain. It's about quality of life. It's about longevity. It's about how the body reacts to quality of food. We decided to pick the keto lifestyle simply in this because we can.
It's also easier to manage than doing like a wider range
Right.
diet.
We can literally stick to basic foods on this. I mean, the second you decide, let's throw a salad in there, oh my goodness.
A lot of variables. Now you
So
have
many-
antioxidants to stop the arachidonic acid buildup, which is going to change the inflammatory profile, which can negate
Depends-
different diseases.
And it depends on the
And then
lectins
there's
that may
depends.
be in there, and how your body reacts either positively or adversely to that.
Yep.
So trying to make this case study as close to a research study with 100 plus participants is literally what we're attempting to do in this case.
Yep. And this is why I didn't use any condiments, or there was no pickles or mustard. Because, I mean, even just say mustard, there's turmeric usually in it. That's what causes the color, and that's known to have health benefits. So those small things that you didn't think as variables, like mustard, could change things.
Right. And we don't know much about the pickles. We don't know much about anything. So we just wanted to make sure that there is one single thing. The biggest variable is this 30 days. And the one distinguishing factor is going to be your millimole of ketone bodies in your blood. I mean, that's going to be the factor. I want to see it increase now. I mean,
I expected it to. I expected it to initially, but I mean, I will fully expect to be able to hire a week from today.
Absolutely. Well, you're fasting.
I'll be fasting for 5 days at better.
The phantasmic part on this one that could be totally scandalous is
You getting cheeky on me?
very cheeky. Is if you your body starts adapting even more and then starts pulsating glucose and releasing that in the bloodstream. I was shocked because when I was in the hospital last year, we all remember that fun time. My fasting blood glucose levels were 120, 130,
Okay.
and I was in full-blown ketosis at that point.
Huh.
That is normal for individuals who have been in ketosis for a while. Your body
it
is
gets used to it.
adapting. It is adapted. It will go through gluconeogenesis and produce the glucose necessary for the body. So now this is the best of both worlds when you come to athletic performance. If you are keto adapted, before an event, taking some exogenous ketones. And if it's not too long of an event, we're keeping this here at around 8-10 miles or something like that. You can throw in a little bit of glucose along the way and some amino acids as your pregame. And now you've got all these sources of fuel that your body can be hitting and tapping into.
Your body will be ready for it.
Your body's going to be so ready for it, and you can avoid the food. You simply take these as drinks so your body will absorb it more. Hit the loo right before the starting gate, and you'll be off. You'll be amazing and not going to bonk.
Yeah, it's similar to what I do after weight cuts. I add a little bit more to it 'cause it's fully depleted, but yeah, same concept. It's amazing how alive I feel afterwards.
Oh, absolutely.
Or how dead I felt first, but that's a whole other story.
And throughout the race, if you are going to go longer, hold off on the glucose on that one, and then you can have a mixture of amino acids and the exogenous ketones and mix that up. And instead of getting those gel packs to which you're going to constantly be having to suck down more.
Have that at the end if you want.
Right. Have
For the
that
sprint finish.
You should definitely practice with it at first.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. Never try something new for an event.
Right.
I feel a lot of people do that. I mean, that has nothing really to do with this topic, quick, but PSA
if you're gonna-
announcement.
right,
Is
if you're gonna-
don't change something before an event.
If you're going to use the ICANN modified starch, you want to make sure that you test that ahead of time. Testing. One.
Jeez, you and your testing.
It actually comes testes. 1, 2, 3.
Syphilis. You're normal.
All right. I think that we're, if we're talking about testes and syphilis,
we're probably near the end of this.
yeah, we should go back to the lab.
Yeah.
You should go home.
Go eat my last couple burgers and call it a day.
Yeah, I'm going to go take Beauty Brains Bra and have our workout date
Oh, okay.
and go from there, see what happens. I took a girl to work out and saw what happens. That's what you get after 20 years of being together.
Okay, Dr. Mike's out. No.
You're mad scientist. I am out. As with everything, however, thank you, and repost, share this podcast every which way. Check out functionized.com/keto.html, and you can check out the updates. I'm doing longer and longer updates. You get the notes from everything that we're doing. You get Dr. Mike's in-depth HIPAA violations that we're posting.
Check out my medical history. Yeah, figure me out.
And we get some behind-the-scenes photos, a few videos here and there, and over this couple-year process, from how we're starting out now all the way through when you're Netflix binge-watching this again and again, talking about how this is the most spectacular, magnificent film that you've ever seen in your life. Maybe we'll have some keto popcorn around that time. All right, I'm done. Mad Scientist, I'm out.
Dr. Mike out. You'll only hear one more vlog from me for those that are actually following it. Then it'll do it maybe weekly for a little bit. I'm tired of those with burgers. So they'll be back. You'll hear from me, but out for now.